Okay, Crossroad Cues, fans, followers, and friends, it brings me great honor to present to you Stingray by the now officially nominated into the Hall of Fame, world famous Mr. Thomas Wayne. Thomas Wayne is arguably the greatest artistic cue maker in the industry. Thomas, to say the least, has been able to and is still doing work that other people can't or simply won't even attempt to do. In honor of Thomas Wayne, instead of me trying to even attempt to describe to you what you're looking at here, I'm going to read his brief LOA, an explanation in his words of what this cue is. But before I do that, I want to give honor where honor is due. This cue is called Stingray for obvious reasons, and I'm going to explain that to you in just a moment in the words of Mr. Thomas Wayne. This cue was made for the 2010 I.C.C.S. Maritime show. Hence the reason why it's depicting the Stingrays. So this was Thomas's entry for that show. I cannot express to you the true beauty that I'm looking at here and the magnitude of it. It is absolutely breathtaking. Thomas's execution and his creativity, his artistic ability, in my opinion, is unparalleled. I would not have the privilege of having this cue in my possession here if it wasn't for a couple people that I notably want to give credit where credit is due. So this is out of the very prestigious Price collection owned by Mr. Robert Price from Sarasota, Florida. Robert Price, known as Bob Price, has given us the privilege of showcasing and selling some of his collection off. He would go to the I.C.C.S. shows and at one time buy the whole entire exhibit. For instance, this came out of the Maritime show. I believe he bought the whole entire exhibit, and he's done that on several shows. The Lone Star show, different shows that they would have for the I.C.C.S. He even hosted a show in Sarasota. So Bob is a very well-respected collector, and I would not have the relationship that I have with Bob if not for my great friend and notably another Hall of Fame cue maker, Mr. Paul Drexler. Paul is a lifelong or very long-term friend of Bob Price's, and I owe credit where credit is due. So I want to thank Mr. Paul Drexler and Bob Price for letting go of this work of art. I also want to mention to you, as Thomas did when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame at the Cue Makers Dinner at the last Super Billiards Expo, I want to give credit for Mr. William Gracefully, our friend at Cornerstone Cues. Bill Gracefully has been a great help to us here with our business, and he's been a pillar in the community of cue sales. And in the words of Thomas Wayne, Thomas's reputation and his name would not have been or where it's at, or he would not have been able to be as well known if it wasn't for the salesmanship of Mr. Gracefully at Cornerstone Cues. Bill was for a very, very long time, and I believe is still the main person that has the privilege of selling Thomas Wayne's cues. So to everybody involved, I want to say thank you. And now I want to share with you in the words of Mr. Thomas Wayne. So this cue, again made for the 2010 Maritime show, has influence that came from a vacation. So in the words of Thomas Wayne, in the mid-90s, while on a guided dive off the Mexican coast of Cabos San Lucas, we encountered a school of stingrays. In the hurricane-darkened waters at a depth of around 90 feet, they swirled above, below, and around us, all while flashing their starky, contrasting bright undersides as they used their entire bodies to fly gracefully through the water. It was an experience I've never repeated and never forgotten. For the 2010 Maritime collection, I endeavored to recapture the feeling of that encounter with stingray. Finding a material to emulate the exact color and texture of the stingray's hide promised to be a challenge until I stumbled across the uniquely appropriate fossil whalebone used in this cue. All the inlays are true fourth access. In addition to the fossil whalebone, Stingray features holly, black lip mother of pearl, dyed pearl wood, and antique elephant ivory with an ivory butt cap and joint. The cue also features engraved rings on the butt and both shafts, as well as ivory ferrules and ivory ring joint protectors. Signed, Thomas Wayne, notably 2010. This cue was made with antique elephant ivory, whalebone, holly, and a lot of other material that Thomas mentions in his letter of authenticity. It was made before the ivory ban, for those of you that are interested. This cue may or may not be able to be shipped depending on where you live. Definitely no overseas shipping whatsoever. So, in the words of the great artist, true fourth access. Stingrays all the way through. Obviously, that's ebony on the forearm and the butt sleeve. We do have multiple pictures from different angles of this work of art that will be on our website, crossroadcues.com. That is a radial pin. Does come with the matching joint protectors, also inlaid with the natural material. Nice black leather wrap. It is unplayed. Again, out of the prestigious Price collection from Sarasota, Florida. If you are interested in adding this one-of-a-kind piece to your collection, you can reach out to us through our website, crossroadcues.com, or you can give me a call. Thank you so much for taking the time. Kudos again to Mr. Bob Price and to the world-famous Paul Drexler for the connection. And above all, to the Hall of Fame master level cue maker, perhaps the Grand Master level cue maker himself, Mr. Thomas Wayne.